died, well, not completely died. They lost control of Galaxy 15, and this thing just basically went rogue and has been wandering around in its orbit, sending out, transmitting signals, interfering with other satellites. There are things happening that we've never envisaged. It's chaos out there. And it's all to do with the fact that the environment in space is changing. We are getting huge deliveries of energy. Boom, boom, boom. And the satellites are just being zapped. They're being knocked out. This is the first time we've actually had a zombie sat, where the thing was just sort of alive. It was sort of alive. It's quite incredible that we are seeing things that we didn't plan for, because quite frankly we started off the space industry in a time when things were very quiet, but we're actually moving into a completely different dispensation now, completely different time, of tremendous deliveries of energy to this planet. Now, another announcement. As I say, this is quite amazing, really. We are having very strange bursts of energy in our atmosphere. We are seeing things that our scientists only believed would be possible coming from a black hole or coming from a supernova explosion. We are seeing extreme energies. They're now telling us that we are having these extreme blasts above thunderstorms or in thunderstorms, at the top of thunderstorms. And they're now saying they're happening 500 times a day. 500 times a day. But wait a minute. When I wrote my book, they actually said that these blasts were taking place 50 times a day. So in 2 years, since the last time, because what's happening, we're getting regular updates from the scientists. In 2008, they say everywhere we look, we are seeing X-rays and gamma rays flying out of thunderstorms and lightning. The gamma rays are coming out of thunderstorms are so intense we can measure them 600 kilometers away, and so bright they almost blind the spacecraft. Actually, this press release, lightning storm gamma rays could harm air travelers, is probably the most panicked press release I've ever seen. Scientists just can't believe what's taking place in the skies. And in this same press release, they said the 50 times a day. It's definitely happening. There's definitely an increase of the energies and the shift of energies. There's something happening in our atmosphere. Apparently, this field of science is actually now on fire. Excuse the pun, but scientists really want to get involved and really want to understand what's happening in our atmosphere. So here, if you want to go to NASA's website, they will give you a nice little animation, and they're showing how we're getting huge bursts. Now, as far as they're concerned, they feel safe to tell people that energy is bursting out into space. Quite frankly, I can't work out why, if it's an explosion, why it's not going in all directions. So some of it's coming down to ground level. They just want you to think, don't worry, folks, it's all going out to space. That can't be right. Okay, so this is just a demonstration of this burst of energy. We're getting beams of electrons, and they're actually being picked up by satellites all around the planet. Okay, so next, this announcement just totally blew me away. The environment of our planet, we're basically facing a storm, a cosmic storm. We had 25 comets hit the sun in 10 days. That's absolutely amazing. The scientists said this is just ridiculous, unprecedented, crazy. That is the terms that the space scientists use. I'm not making this up. You can check the press releases yourself. 25 small comets hit the sun in 10 days, and I will explain what's going on out there. But I've put these flashbacks. The military are now hiding, the US military are now hiding fireball data. They just don't want people knowing that there's a storm out there. There's a storm of energy. And in fact, it upset the astronomers so much that some of them threatened to leave the country and go and work somewhere else where they could get the data they were looking for. Okay. So here I just want to emphasize the fact that for a long time scientists thought that space was a really quiet place. Nothing happens. That's what I was taught when I was at school and at university. Space is a quiet place. It's dead cold. Nothing's going on. That is just so far away from the truth. It really is. Okay, so here I just want to point out that scientists have been doing computer models of spiral galaxies, and they think that our galaxy is like this. They're not sure, to be honest, because we're inside this galaxy, so we can't really see it properly, but they believe they've identified these spiral arms. They think that Earth and our solar system is on what they call a local arm. It's a split off, basically, from a bigger arm. Okay. I liked it because it had this diamond-shaped thing inside it. I thought, oh, I'll use this one. Okay. But it turns out that scientists have been doing models, and they say that these spiral arms can actually create spurs. They actually get fragmented by bursts of energy in space. And so space is a lot more diverse. And basically, as we're travelling around...
There's a bit of echo in the...
Is it too much, is it?
Maybe you could turn the volume a bit.
How do I do that? It's too hard, is it? You can't hear it? I don't know what to do with this. Shall I take this mic away from my mouth? You don't think that helps at all?
Just keep talking, we'll try to figure it out.
Okay. I'm just wondering if I should just talk a bit quieter, or if that helps.
Anyway.
Okay. I'll just put this back on my... You want me to be a bit slower in what I say?
Perhaps that's okay.
Okay. If I was thinking about moving the mic a bit. So basically, our solar system is not quite like this. That is the way that's presented to the general public. But in reality, it's much more complex. And possibly the fact that we have things happening on Earth, climate change, climate variability, may be more to do with the fact that as our solar system travels around the galactic centre, that things are... We're meeting different types of space. Okay, and it may be more to do with the fact that things are far more fragmented. Okay, and I find this interesting that we are actually, it's possible to actually see what the scientists are thinking. It's much easier to understand what they're saying these days. Okay, now I wanted to show you this particular slide and emphasize the fact that the Russians, oh my goodness, I've done that wrong. Okay. The Russians told us that we were traversing a new region of space 10 years ago. In fact, it was 1997, 10 years before the Americans admitted it. Okay. And this is actually, I don't really want to read all the details, but just show you the picture. Okay, that the sun is actually in a transition zone. This blue transition zone. We're moving from what they thought was the local interstellar medium into a new region. And we have a cloud that is approaching us coming from the galactic centre. Now wait a minute, what's all this talk about the galactic centre? We've had all sorts of messages talking about energy coming from the galactic centre, changes, transitions. I just think that some of the messages have got mixed up. Okay? This is real. This is what's happening. And I just feel it's important that we don't keep going along with the old ideas that aren't actually correct. I don't talk about things like the photon belt. I don't know what on earth that is, that was meant to be. I talk about things that I know for a fact is actually happening. So I just want to explain that, scientists are aware of the fact that our solar system is in space and it's literally approaching the edge of one region and hitting another region. But in between is something called the Oort cloud. And that basically it's filled with rocks and asteroids. And we're actually disturbing this region. And I believe that what's happening is there is a massive disturbance taking place. And that's why we're seeing a lot more comets and fireballs and asteroids at the moment taking place. The other thing is the fact that scientists have known that there's going to be a change. But the whole thing was just a huge guessing game. They can't really measure distances in space. However, we've had fairly accurate predictions from people groups, indigenous groups, like the Maya. They said, you know what, it's now. And it's really quite amazing because I'm going to go through a chart with all the guesses from the scientific community. And comparing to the information that's come from metaphysical sources, the metaphysical sources have been incredibly accurate. Okay, just want to show you the official NASA picture of where our sun is and the fact we seem to be in some kind of transition zone. Okay, and I talked about the ribbon, the snake, I talked about that in my essay. And the fact that it really is like this. It really is. Our little solar system is plunging, is very, very close to a huge transition which is going to affect life on Earth. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's going to affect life on Earth. So this is a little bit, I'm not going to go into all this detail. I just want you to know that there are scientists that have actually studied this. Paul Laviolette has done some excellent research, and he talks about this dust. I'm not going to go into it. I just want you to be aware of the fact that instead of scientists believing that space was completely empty, instead of that, they've now admit that space is not empty. It's full of life. It's full of dust. Dust is actually, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's freeze-dried bacteria. If you want to understand this, you have to look at the research of people like Sir Fred Hoyle and Chandra Wickramasinghe, his name is. These are scientists that have been looking at this for many, well, Sir Fred Hoyle has actually died now, but his partner is actually still alive. And they've been investigating this. It's almost like the universe manufactures life. It's already ready to go. It's manufactured in space. We talk about humans being from dust. It's actually true. It's true. Dust is not something that's inorganic. It's not dead. It's actually alive. It's like pre-life, already ready to go. If you think about freeze-dried coffee, all you have to do is put the hot water and the milk and the sugar, maybe some alcohol would be nice, and you've got something nice. It's almost like it's manufactured, and it's like it's sprinkled liberally. Whatever planet it hits, depending on the conditions of the planet, then that life takes.